Welcome to Ulua. You live, you work, you art.
Hello, this is Caro from Ulua, and I'm going to talk about change and why is change difficult. And change can be for the good or for the bad. And I am going to talk about how, when there's a change in your life, when you are going through a change, whatever that is, that you are trying to be different, trying to change some aspects of your life. For example, sometimes you do a change that is really good for you, but from your perspective, you can see how this sets you apart from your group. For the people that you are with, they don't like the way that they knew you or the way you are doing right now, and everything starts to be shaky. It's like you are um, on a on a rope trying to balance yourself and walking while walking on this rope, and there's a precipice or yes, there's a precipice right um, down of you, and you are like trying to get things to be more stable, more balanced, and also trying to understand what you are going through, because you are not only going through the change or through this great challenge that sometimes we have to do. We have to take this leap, but at the same time is that we are confused because we say, I am doing something that's really good for me. I'm struggling with this kind of thing, situation that I'm going through. And at the same time, I can see people that I consider that they love me or that I love them too. Like they seem to be even more and more apart from me. And you say, why? Because I'm doing this for me and I'm doing this to be healthier, to be uh, wealthier, to be a better person, to be more spiritual, or whatever it is that you want to do. And this happens to me. I'm going to share an experience I had when I came back. It has happened to me several times in my life. Every time I change something that I think it's for the great of my own life, I can see how my world turns apart and breaks completely down. Not in all cases, but I have had this kind of experience at least 4 times in my life. And the last one, I remember I came from, well, was not the last one, it was the previous to the last one. When I came back from Indonesia, I had had so many experiences and things that I have shaped my mind differently, and I have not my mind, everything of me was completely different when I came back. And I was more clear, for example, on the things that I did want to do and the ones I didn't want anymore, um, how I wanted my life to be, and that kind of thing. And I remember I was super friends with, there was a group of us. I had my friends, and when I came back and I told them, right now I think this and this and this, and they said, but you have changed so much. We don't get you. We don't understand what you're doing. And I said, but I'm happier now. I want to do this. And whatever that was right at the moment, my decisions, the things that I had decided to do. And they said, we don't get you anymore. And that was really shocking. And because it was a good change. It was not something for the bad or some situation that when I was really struggling. It was totally the opposite. It was something I was really happy because I had changed and I have made decisions and I have um, shaped my life in a different way. And but that was a complete shock for me because I said these people are supposed to be my friends and I love them and they supposedly love me, or at least in the past they did. And what do I do? Because I can stick to my past self, which is not the one I want to be right now. And So I had to decide there to make another decision. And I talk to them and I say, hey, but I want to do this, which is making me happier. I really feel that I have to pursue this way of doing things. And they said, we don't get you. We don't understand why you have changed so much. And even though I was happier with the decisions I had made, they couldn't support that. So I realized that when this happens, even if it's good news for you, you have to let go people that may have been your friends, your sometimes people from family, and that kind of thing. You have to decide to. I think that the links between them, just the relationships, just break down. Even though if you don't want to, but you start seeing them less because you don't completely have the same vibe, I could say, like them anymore. And so things starts to break down, and that's really a huge thing. And that was the first, I don't know if that's the first time, but it was a time that I really felt like the friction of my friends leaving me, I could say, or I was leaving them too, because we couldn't really understand each other. And they are great people, and I really love them. I think they are great people. I hope we can sometime find the common ground again, so we can continue doing things that we were doing artistically and a lot of things. But I can see now that sometimes people just have to go. And again, the most shocking thing for me was that they were loving people that I really loved them. I enjoyed being with them, but they were somehow things moved in my basis, in my fundamentals, we could say, and everything was different now. And you always have the option to do nothing and go back to the way you were before, but in my case, I just couldn't. I couldn't deal with my old self. Let's say that. So yeah, I think that's kind of a hard thing when you change, because and this is only at personal level, because when we change, and I've worked in change management and changing and to transform organizations and that kind of thing. And it also happens in a different way. It's not that personal. It's when things start to modify themselves, or things are start to move. And sometimes people quit, or sometimes people are let go because the situation is different and they can't adapt to how it's going right now. So yeah, that's the kind of thing I want to talk about right now. And it comes to mind this song that I heard recently that somebody passed me. It's called Everybody Supports Women. And the song says everybody supports women until she's doing better than you, something like that. I don't know. I have it around here. Wait a second. Here, yes. And another sentence of the song is, everybody wants you to love yourself until you actually do. And that resonated with me. Everybody wants to love yourself until you actually do, because when you actually love yourself is when the problems come, because you have to say no to certain things, you have to preserve yourself. And maybe it's not a huge thing. I remember when I came from Indonesia, it was not that I had changed, I don't know, in my habits that much, or I don't know, was something in my mind, some decisions I had made, they couldn't seem to match other people. And so this was like a crisis for me, and after that the pandemic came and everything, and I just ended up without my friends that I was always with. And that was a huge change. And so there's always, I could say, a price to pay when you change. So even if it's for a greater purpose, that I said in my case was, I can't be that the person I was before. I had other thoughts in my mind. I have other mentality. I have even though I continue doing many things that I did in the past, but I don't know what happened if this was a group of dancers, so we were like we talked a lot about things and the things we thought and everything, and I don't think there was a change in that, but it's some different vibe, we could say, something I can explain actually. So anyways, again, I think they are wonderful people, but something happened and something was not the same. And when this happens, even though again it's for a better you, for you to be better, to be feeling great, to, I don't know, be more successful, or however you want to call it, it's kind of difficult. And on the other side, when something bad happens, it's also difficult, but in a different sense, because you are struggling and you are having a lot of problems. And again, I will refer to myself as a reference, and this was the actual last thing that happened to me, which was I was in so much pain with my spine injury and that kind of thing. And I had other friends at the time that happened, and I had to let go also many people from there. And even if you could say, wow, that's really painful, because when you are in pain, you need people to help you or to support you in some way, to be there for you. But I still, comparing the two situations, I still feel that the previous one, when you are happy and you're consciously making changes and you expect others to support you because you're feeling great and they don't, that's the most shocking one. Because when you are in pain, I totally get that some people don't know how to handle that, and I think it's kind of expected that when you have so much time struggling with the situation, it's difficult for others to really comprehend you, to really understand you, and it's kind of expected that people won't like to be around you if you're not feeling good. It's not nice, but I have had other experiences, and I guess that's the case in general. When you realize that you don't have there's actually a saying that says that in bad times you really know who your real friends are. So it's kind of expected that this happens. But when you are in a good situation, that these things are really, really, really what can be the word for that? Struck me, like shocked me. Because I was saying I'm not struggling, I'm feeling great, and I want everybody around me to feel great, and this is not happening. Apparently, if you are feeling great, like this song says, when you're taking care of yourself, people don't actually like that. And we really didn't have a fight or anything with this kind of people, but it's something that you feel that they are not completely happy for you. And I actually talked to them and I said, I don't feel that you're really happy for the things that I'm happy about, because I'm super happy about my life, and you're not, and I can feel that somehow. But anyways, so yeah, I think that kind of change is why, that kind of situation is why people is so afraid of change, because you are now in your comfort zone, and you have the things you really want to do, or you have a less stable situation. And our brains don't like instability or uncertainty. Our brains want to be happy all the time, stable all the time. At least if you're not happy all the time, you are in a stable situation. You are depressed all the time. So our brain tends to do that, to just be in one state. And I do think that is why change is so difficult for us humans. And yeah, I've had many situations that comes to mind that somebody wrote to me some time ago, and they said, comfort zone, that's something you don't understand because I'm kind of changing all the time and that kind of thing. So yeah, I don't think actually my comfort zone, we could say, my periods of stability are the most uncomfortable ones for me, and I had to learn that too, right? Because when you are all the time getting bored of the things you do, and that's another topic for another time. But yeah, so yes, I wanted to talk about that, about how when we want to do a change for the good for us, and we are maybe not struggling, maybe you are struggling to change for the good because, I don't know, you are leaving aside an addiction, or yes, or you are trying to be at peace with yourself, with your health, with your body, with whatever it is that is going on in your life. It's difficult, and not everyone will support your changes, especially, for example, if you are in a group that you have a certain addiction, and you're in a group that supports that addiction. They are your friends, and they are the people that are with you, and maybe the only ones you know. For you, it will be difficult to say, I leave this world in the past, and I will try to move on to something. All those people will have to go, and you will have to let them go, or let them in the past, forget about them. And that's really difficult, because what's next? What is that you will do the next day if you do that, right? It's really difficult to do that. And now, regarding specifically about why it may be difficult for you to change, apart from this environment that you have, that everything that you are doing right now supports your way of living, your way of thinking. So if you want to change, there are some mistakes that we generally do, is that changing things overnight. And sometimes this happens because I know, for example, one person that she decided one day she went out for her to be to donate blood, and they took out her blood and everything, and she saw when the vials were containing a thick like muddy blood out of her, and there were other vials in the same place, and the other ones were more red, and they were like different from hers. She said, "What is that?" She asked the nurse, and the nurse said, "Oh, it's because you smoke, so your blood is like that." And that day she realized, she had an instant realization or an insight, and she said, "I quit smoking." So it was a change overnight, over an instant, that she decided she never, ever smoked again. But that rarely happens. It's like the change we all want to do, right? That, okay, I will live this forever and everything will be magical. but it's not like that in the most of the cases, in the majority of the cases of others. So sometimes we want to do this change overnight, and we want to magically be able to be healthy or to cure ourselves, and most of the cases that doesn't happen. And another well, that's actually not a mistake, that's something that happens, but a mistake that I've seen happen in other cases is that we try to change everything at once, but we don't, maybe we know, they say intellectually know that we have to do a certain thing. We have to, I know this partner that I have maybe is not the right for me, and I know I'm suffering in this situation, but I know I should leave him, for example. But I don't do it because it's too difficult. If I just transition from one day to the other and I just leave the home, maybe I'm living with him, he's I don't know, in charge of the economic situation, that kind of thing. So that's a drastic maybe example, but there are some others, like, I don't know, I want to change the way that I eat, and I do it for 1 or 2 days, but my system is so used to eating the things that I've been eating for the last 20 years. So now it's really difficult for me to my body to accept the change overnight. So these changes have to be taken more step by step, have to be really thought, and maybe you need support from other person, maybe a friend, maybe not, maybe you have to pay for a coach or a psychologist or a nutritionist or whatever it is that according to the change that you want to do. But most of those changes take time, for the majority of us at least. And yes, another thing that I've seen happen a lot with diets, for example, is that people say, okay, I will try this new diet and I will just apply to me and everything will be fine and great. And that is almost never the case. If you can talk to people that are dieting all the time, they can tell you that. And it's because, and this is something I always say, so maybe I can feel like sound like a broken record, right? Every time saying the same, but you have to know yourself first. If you just want to apply the magical recipe, the magical method, or maybe not magical, but certain method that I've seen online, and it worked for thousands of people, but it might not work for you because you have to realize about your habits, about who you are, about your system, your everything that you are, right? And that is actually really difficult because, for example, if you go to and I will separate this in two. If you go, for example, to certain type of medicines or doctors, they will diagnose you according to their ways. It comes to mind, for example, traditional medicine from China, and also Ayurveda, which is from India. So they have their specific diagnosis that they will use for you. And I'm not saying those are bad. That actually they have been proven to be useful, at least for people in Asia, for, I don't know, thousands of years. So you have to know that things you can try, of course, but they might help you or might not help you. So I think it's kind of an exploration. These processes are like an exploration of yourself and see for yourself, because you are a unique person, to see what is good for you and what is bad for you. And you have to, yes, become an explorer of your own self in that regard. And this could also be applied to our psychological or mental health or well-being. Maybe for some people meditation doesn't work. Meditation, like being sitting all day and trying to clear up their mind, doesn't completely help them. And for other people it will be great. So you have to find your own methods. That's what I always say, because at least that's what has happened to me. I always have to find my own way. Or at least I've had to do that. Maybe in the future, I don't know. And regarding this, that I was saying specific medicines, I associated that, when I say I will separate that, I associated that with also tools, because you may say, okay, I will apply the Chinese tools or the Indian tools, or I don't know, other kinds of medicine or other type of tools for the mind or whatever it is. So I think they are all tools, and you have to realize which one is best for you. If you attach to one specific tool and it is not helping you, but you say, oh, I have to make it work, and time passes by, and maybe this tool or this method or this medicine or this help or whatever it is, it's not really good for you, you can even do more damage than good for your own life, right? So wait a minute, Amate. And sometimes it's okay, you decide how you want to do the changes that you need to do. Sometimes you're completely lost and you will go just exploring, as I was saying, the things that you can do, and taking one and say, this doesn't work for me, and I go with another one, and that kind of thing. And in the process you are knowing also yourself, if you are conscious about your own journey, of course. Because I've also known people that just go, I try this, I try that, but they never learn from the processes they are going through. And so your journey has to be conscious somehow. And also try to remember that we talk about purpose and that kind of thing. I don't know if purpose, but try to think why you want to do this change. Maybe it's because you realize that you want to be healthier. So being and always coming back to this main thing that you have said. For example, if you start a diet and you say, I want to I don't know, I want to lose 20 kilos, for example, or whatever it is your measures are. But by why you want to do that is because you want to become healthier, you want to be, I don't know, better looking, or whatever it is that you have in your mind. So try to discern that. And for this, it's also good to, maybe this is a tool I sometimes use, which is the 5 whys. It can be infinite whys. Start asking why you want to be healthier, and why you want to, I don't know, lose weight, why, and start to unraveling and start to unravel that information, to really understand what you really want. Because sometimes you say, oh, I want to be more thin, I want to be thinner, or but that's actually not the real answer. There are several things layered down that you cannot see right now, and your mind is making the story, I want to be thinner, but it's not really the case. So you have to know yourself in order to really understand that. Yeah, maybe I'm going a little too deep into this. And so in my case, for example, so you have a reference. In my case, when I wasn't at all struggling with my changes after I came back from Indonesia, but the thing I was struggling with was my surroundings, my environment, my friends, because I love them so much and I want them to be part of my new life, my new happier life. So I remember at the time, and I remember when I was thinking about this again today, that actually was like 20 years or so ago when I had to go through a complicated change. It was really a struggle for me at the time. And I remember I don't know if I thought, sorry, if I read about it or if someone told me about this, but it always stuck with me because I think it's a really, really, really good thing for you to think when you want to change something. And for example, I will put this, yes, in the context of this case that I was telling with my friends. So imagine we were on separate stairs. You can say stairs go up and down. Maybe it was like in a mall, when you have stairs going down, one going down and the other is going up. You can imagine it however you want. Maybe you are on the same stair and you are on the same step of the stair, and you're holding hands with, in this case, my group, this group of people that I was with, and you start to, in this case, because I was getting better, I saw it like I moved one step up, but they continue to be in the other. This is just for an example, right? So bear with me. So we were at first in the same step when we met, and we really connected and everything, and we took hands. We were taking hands, but then I moved up one step, and they stay in the same. It was still kind of comfortable to be holding hands with the people that are one step below. But when you move one another, it's like two steps difference, and just holding hands, it feels really uncomfortable, right? And if you want to move even one up, you just have to go down or let them go, because you just can't hold hands with that distance, right? So it always stuck with me, this example, and every time I have to do this kind of decision, to make this kind of decision, I think about that and I say, okay, I really want to step up, so I have to let them go. That was the case. And it was painful because I really loved them. They were my friends and everything. But I had to move on. I had to move up. You can say on, up, doesn't matter. But we couldn't just be holding hands with each other, right? So sometimes you have to make that decision in order for you to be happy, because in this world, and this was like a good, we could say, breakup, even though some of them were angry, and that was their process. They didn't really understand why I had to move to another direction. But some understood that it was a different time for me, and so yeah, it's difficult. And I look back again, like from time to time, and I say, I really love them. I think they are great people. But something doesn't match anymore. And yeah, so I think that is a really good tool for you to see when you're struggling. What do I do? Should I leave them behind? Or if they leave me behind, what should I do? Maybe it's the opposite, right? Maybe the other ones are the one like stepping up and you're getting behind. And maybe you said, I don't like the way they are heading, so I choose to let them go in their own direction. So I think it's really a good tool for you to have in your mind palace, so you can make use of it. And I can't really remember where I heard about that or I read, but it was super, super useful, and I'm still using it until today. Anyway, so that is a great tool. Even though I say I don't be attached to tools, there are tools that could be useful for you, and this is one from time to time I have to get out of my toolkit and apply to certain situations when I have to decide something like that. And of course, it was really easier for me to do so when I was in pain, because I could see that everyone was. It's like when you, I don't know. It's like when you fall down from a building. I saw myself like that. I'm going down from the building, and because this life happens, and sometimes you lose balance and you fall down, and you expect the people that you love and normally support you, your friends, family, and everything, to be right there on the floor to hold you up to minimize the damage you are about to make, to have on your body, your soul, whatever it is. And everybody's like spreading around and fall completely and almost alone to the ground. Of course, there are people that will be always there for you, but I think that's easier for you to realize, okay, I have to let all these people that went running away let go, and that's easier for you to decide. But the problematic things to do is when you are doing great. So yeah, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this thing in a future episode. I don't know when. So coming back to change, I think when you change from your heart, not only from your mind, because it's easy to say, I want to do that because I think I need that. For example, I don't know, I need to, for example, in the case that is not a case of, in order to be healthier, you just want to lose weight just cause, and it's not because of health issues. This could be something that comes from your mind, right? Maybe not necessarily a thing that you need to do in order to improve your health, or from your body, from your core, we could say. So in this case, it comes from the mind. But if you have something that you want to do from your heart because you really feel that that is the way that you should move up or forward or ahead, or however you want to call that, that movement made from your heart is like it feels really true. It feels, and you have, when you commit to that, it's easier for you to really stick to the change because it's from your heart. Like in this case with my friends, I really love them, but my heart was telling me that I had to move on to something else. So I think that kind of thing, it's, even though I was thinking, no, but I can't. I have to. I love them. I want to be with my friends, but my heart was telling me otherwise. So I think that kind of feeling, we could say, I don't know, it's intuition kind of thing, can help you stick to your change or to your path, your path. If you just say, oh, I want to lose 20 kilos just cause, and you don't really have you don't really feel it from your heart, you will never stick to that. You will just, oh, maybe, well, in general, what I've seen is that people don't tend to really commit to that and stick to your changes because it's something you think you need. It's not the same as you feel it. I don't know how to explain that. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but that's my experience. So yes, and it's always good, even though I say the cases when the ones that you love, maybe the ones that you love are, I don't think that, well, some people, but in general, what you need is somebody that's external from you, that's maybe doesn't have a complete connection with you, because they can be brutally honest sometimes with you, not in a bad sense, not shouting at you or anything, but saying things that maybe more loving people don't feel like they can say that to you. But if you, for example, a coach, a psychologist, or someone can tell you that, even lovingly, they can tell you, okay, and make you reflect on the things that you need to change, and they can be totally honest with you. And sometimes if you have real good friends, they can be totally honest with you, radically honest with you. But in general, it's a little bit more complicated, especially, well, I don't know. I was about to say, especially if you are in Latin, with Latin America, or some Asian countries too, when people tend to be nice and they don't like to be commenting on a thing that could hurt you. But sometimes you need to listen to those words that will hurt you in a loving way, so they don't really hurt you too much, but yes, they start some kind of movement in you. So it's kind of complicated. So it's better to do this with a professional, like psychologist, a coach, and that kind of thing. So, okay, I talked a lot about this thing about change, and mostly about personal change, because I think this we could have talked about change, business, and that kind of thing. Maybe we will sometime. I have done that for so much time now. So again, that is something I have to, I don't know, I may want to treat differently again, because as I said, I tend to, okay, I mastered this part of my life and then I move on to another new thing. So yeah, I might be talking about that because I have knowledge firsthand on that kind of thing. And I think that kind of thing can help you too, for your company, your teamwork, or whatever it is. But yeah, right now it was change in a personal way. And let me know in the comments if this has resonated with you, if you have had this situation where you have become a person that loves yourself, and you have been misunderstood and feeling unsupported somehow in this situation, or maybe you are right now in that process. And so yeah, comment, like, subscribe, and that kind of thing that you do. Thank you very much, and have fun. See you in the next episode. Bye.
Stay tuned for Ulua's next episode.